Well, this chapter has an interesting development. We learn that Getten is a Himura, and I've got to say, he looks weird without the parka. Anyways, the Himura family was known for inbreeding. Their influence started to dwindle when they started doing that. Let's ask the Spanish Habsburgs how well the inbreeding worked for them. Until they started selling off members of the family because their prestige dwindled that much. This is a framing device for what happens next. Mainly Toya losing his mind. The dude looks worse than Vader at Mustafar right now. And his mind? What mind? Anyways, I still find it interesting that even his deepest desires, even with all his hatred, his baseline mental processing is just wanting Endeavor to notice him. I would say he's entered a bestial state like the Haya Nomu acted during the Nomu fight. Which makes sense since Dr. Garaki was involved in both the creation of the high-end Nomu and Dabi. I'm sure the imagery is intentional. He does look like the high-end Nomu right here. What's interesting to me is that Toya does have a quirk awakening as he's dying, even in this horrific state where I doubt there's much DNA left circulating through him. Specifically, he manifests Ray's quirk. Now, there's been some controversy over this development, mainly over a fan theory. Many fans bought into Phoenix theory, the Jean Grey Dark Phoenix right here, rather than getting an ice quirk like Ray, and I can see why anyone would want him getting a Phoenix quirk. Toya dying and then being put back together does give off a Phoenix vibe where he comes back from the ashes, but in terms of development, I say ice makes the most sense. His hair goes from red to white, a shift from fire to ice. Something must have been bubbling beneath the surface, so a manifestation of the ice quirk makes a bit more sense than a phoenix. This also plays into Endeavor's arc. When we first encounter Endeavor at the sports festival, he is the puppet master and the mad scientist who uses Shoto as a tool as an extension of himself. I do also believe, especially in the anime, he has the highest Nomu body count on screen at least. At least it's when Shigaraki is not decaying his own minions. When we see him facing off against the high-end Nomu, who's fighting one of the Dr. Garaki's creation with multiple quirks. The callbacks to the high-end Nomu fight are pretty blunt and deliberate. Right here, he's grabbing his own son and flying him into the sky to go burn him, much like what he did with the high-end Nomu. And like the high-end Nomu, he's fighting one of Garaki's Frankenstein creations with multiple quirks, except this time, Endeavor helped supply the quirks. While Garaki patched up Toya, this is ultimately Endeavor's own making. This is Endeavor's Frankenstein's monster, if anything. And like the high-end Nomu fight, Endeavor will not need to face this alone. Thanks for watching. Please consider liking, subscribing, and supporting the channel on Ko-fi.